Do you have some sympathy with the staff at British Airways that have voted to strike?
I have a lot of sympathy for them. I think this is what coming out of unprecedented times looks like. None of us knew what was going to happen. But these guys have held on. Some of them will have been furloughed, some of them will have been made redundant, and some of them will have been re-employed. And they've been really messed around for the last couple of years, just generally. But for those guys that have held on and taken pay cuts and believed in their organisation, the cost of living is going up around us. It's not fair for these guys still to be on reduced pay when actually the executives are getting a full pay now. These are the guys on the ground dealing with people every single day. They're the people that your customers see. And yeah, they just need to be treated better.
And it's been a difficult time, especially, for the whole airline industry, but especially for British Airways. They've had to deal with IT problems, staff shortages, and these staff that are striking have borne the brunt of that.
Exactly. So you can imagine if you're the one that's front line and a customer's had issues at check-in or they've had an issue with something else, you're the ones that are going to deal with that. It's not the guys at the top or the ladies at the top. It's these guys, and quite frankly, sometimes they're getting paid below the minimum wage. If cost of living is rising in the way that it is, we're asking the people that serve our people to live beyond their means, to go into debt, to try and keep a job. Why would people do that? This is why people are leaving our industry. We've got to reinvent it, and we've got to start thinking differently.
How does the industry reinvent itself, and particularly British Airways, in your opinion?
I really honestly believe that the way that there's a plane coming up right now behind us, so just to prove the point. Look, it's really difficult. Our industry, it takes a lot of learning about our industry to kind of understand how that it works. But if you can imagine, travel is always sold in advance, in the hope, in the promise that actually that's going to happen. But there's a lot of moving parts that happen between that sale and actually the flight taking place, and things can happen. The problem is when flights get cancelled, that affects the whole chain. It affects the reputation of the people that have sold the tickets, it affects the airline, but obviously it affects the travellers who then think, I'm going to book somewhere else next time, or actually, as they're doing now, I'm not going to book at all. I'm not going to take this risk anymore. We've got to start making us earn money. The commercial models need to change, and we need to look at what it takes to run these businesses, and actually then what money we need how money needs to be made in order to do that. Because at the moment, these guys are on the back of the worst time that we've ever known as travel companies. They've got no reserves left. So I do feel for them as well. It's a really difficult situation. They've got no reserves left. They are selling tickets in order to pay for the operations of their business. When those tickets then don't happen, they've got to refund that money. So we're just in this constant chicken and egg situation until they've built up some reserves.
It needs a bit of a revolution.
It needs a total revolution. But for me, it's about putting your people first. If you get this wrong, if you do not look after your staff on the front line, you don't have a company.
Yeah.
That's what people have got to start understanding.
BA would say it is looking after its staff. It says it's in an extremely challenging environment, losses of more than 4 billion. They've made an offer of a 10% payment, which was accepted by the majority of colleagues. And it says that they've got to work together as a team with the unions.
But isn't it about leadership honouring that as well? So, when I was in this position, my entire company took a pay cut, and I'm sure they did at the time. But is it fair that the executives are back up to full pay and their workers aren't? If we're all a team, surely we're all doing it at the same time.